So this project is to build a eco house using reclaimed or free materials. We have a mezzanine inside and like a little window sticking out, and the roof comes out and the rain drips off. They're throwing away coffee tables, sofas, chairs, and even windows. An open fireplace which will come through the wall and up and give you guys a weekly episode. Well folks, welcome back to episode 2 of the Eco Build. Just to bring you up to date, what I've done here is I've removed a lot of the existing poles that were in the ground because they were rotten. I was going to leave them until I realised that they weren't quite structurally sound. So after knocking the whole thing down, I remapped everything and I went and found another pole, another beam, another post for the center. Not only will that make it even stronger when it comes to structurally, it will also give me a bit of support when it comes to putting in a mezzanine or a top floor. So here we are, this is the structure. We have the center pole right there. What I did was use some string and I went around all these posts in order to give me that center mark. I then dug it in about 30, maybe 40 centimeters. What I haven't done is burnt the ends of these posts. It's because these are telegraph poles. They are coated with creosote. Basically, they're rot proof. So those are all in the ground, and then I've put in some supports. That's holding it all together, as well as coming in to that center pole. It's gonna stop it moving for now. But over the next episode or two, I'm gonna be putting in, hopefully, a mezzanine right there. That's gonna strengthen everything. If I'm lucky, I'm gonna find some free floorboards or cheap. Remember, this project is to build a eco house using reclaimed or free materials. The roof will hopefully be thatched. The walls will be made up of straw. So I was thinking wide, large straw bales, but I'm now thinking the smaller ones, because you can get bigger ones and smaller ones. I'm now thinking the smaller straw bales, and they're gonna go all the way around the outside of these beams, which means it doesn't reduce the room I have on the inside. Once the walls are up, I will be putting in windows. Remember, I'm trying to do this for free or for cheap. I did find a few windows when I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace. I went over, really nice lady. She said to me I could have them for free. So there we are, I put them in the back of the car, shook her hand, said thank you very much. And those windows will now be put in here. I think they're gonna look the part. I didn't want plasticky, white looking windows. I wanted something a bit older looking. That's the plan for that. There will be a door. The door will be around the front there. I also want to have a bit of a porch going out. So there's going to be a bit of a porch area, maybe about a metre coming out there. The roof is going to be thatched. It's going to come down and then slightly out, protecting this porch area at the front from the rain. Right, back to the programme. And as you might have seen in episode 1, I've got these boards of oak. I've cut them down, I've placed it on the fire and I've charred it. This is because when that now goes on the ground, that will reduce the rate at which it starts to rot, break down and just deteriorate. This is something I've done before when I built a roundhouse with Mike from TA Outdoors. We had these cedar posts and we burnt the ends, we placed them into the ground. And honestly, 5 years later, they're still solid in the ground. They haven't rotten or anything. So yeah, it's an old way of using some sort of damp proof, if that's what you want to call it. It just stops moisture. It's a moisture barrier. It's not going to last forever, but it's going to last a good 5 or 10 years. The horse tried eating the camera. And this brings us to the part of the video where I'm going to do a bit of cooking. I love a bit of outdoor cooking, whether it's chicken on a stick, crab boiled down on the beach, or steak over the fire. Many of you watching know that I love a bit of outdoor cooking over a fire, but sometimes deciding what to cook can be a bit of a tough decision. HelloFresh have sponsored this video, and I want to show you how easy it is to order a box of food from HelloFresh. You simply head on over to the website and scroll through the 100+ menus which they offer, choosing from delicious meaty meals to healthy vegetable meals. Then all you have to do is place your order and select when and where you want it to arrive. The great thing is that it's all really easy to cook. If you aren't a confident cook, then all you have to do is follow the step-by-step instructions and you'll have a meal cooked within minutes. So what did I do with the food that HelloFresh sent me? Well, I started by chopping some wood, lighting a fire, and then preparing everything to go with the meal. The instructions were useful when it came to timings and what order to cook everything in. Once the potatoes were cooked, I started to put the dauphinoise together along with the cream and garlic. Then it was time for the steak and vegetables. A few minutes later, and there it was. Steak, vegetables, and potato dauphinoise with a little bit of truffle powder. And it was all cooked over a campfire. As you can see, it was an absolute feast. And I'm not joking when I say this. Food cooked outside over a campfire always tastes better than when you cook it indoors. Well, maybe that's just me. So I want to give a big thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Order yours today and get an exclusive 60% off plus 25% for the next 2 months. And you also get free dessert for life. All you have to do is use code BUSHCRAFT60 or scan this QR code. And with that being said, let's get back to the video. Well folks, it's now a few days later and I want to give you a little tour to show you the progress that I've made. So this is going to be the floor, a raised floor, and not only is it supported here, it's also supported there, it's screwed in and there are blocks underneath it just holding up the weight because there's going to be quite a lot of weight on this. And then I've also put joists going all the way there and you can see it's really going to make it nice and strong for a floor. Hello! What? What? And I just bought her a brand new bandana. Yay! So yeah, floor really strong. All I need to do now is find a bit of wood. But I might have found a little bit. I'll update you on that in a minute. Look, it's just really good, useful oak. Yes, it's not perfect. There are a few bits like this which, well, when it comes to that, what I do is I just saw it off until I get a really good bit. There's bits like this. This could be really useful for a shelf somewhere, or even a chopping board, I don't know. But yeah, I love the live edge on this. I love the natural look to it. Yeah, loads of wood, planks as well. There's loads and loads of wood left over for this project. In fact, have a look over here. And then there's all this pile as well. Short bits, long bits, wide bits, narrow bits. Yeah, £130 really well spent. Okay, I haven't used that much, but what's left over is going to allow me to use it for things like the windows. And don't forget, I got the windows for free last week. I had to drive about 40 minutes, went down, shook the lady's hand, put them in the back of the car, and then drove back here. But there's something else that I got recently for free, and I want to show you. But before we look at what I got for free, take a look at this. Okay, so I went online and I searched for a wood stove. I just needed a fireplace, a kind of wood stove, and then I found this. Have a look. So this wood stove, I found it on Facebook Marketplace. I was scrolling through, you know, I do it every day. I'm looking for things I can use here that'll be useful for this build. Remember, this build is all about using something for free or cheap and reclaimed. It's about how to build a house using free or reclaimed materials, and I'm trying to keep it under £1,000, which is roughly $1,000. So check this one out. It was listed online for £50. I sent the guy a message and I said, look, any chance that you can do it for 30? He said, yeah, no problem. So I turned up half an hour later, had a look at it, picked it up, put it in the back of the car and brought it back here. Since then, what I've done is I've rubbed it back with a bit of sandpaper. It's taken a little while, but I've got through all that rust. So what I want to do now is apply a bit of paint to it. I've got some black stove paint, which I've had for about 12 years in the back of my shed, somewhere collecting dust. It's things like that that are going to come in really useful for this project. For example, nails, maybe paintbrushes or old paint I have at home. Things that most of us have at home, in the garage, in the shed, lying around. We're going to have something useful that'll be useful for a project like this. I even had a little fire in it last night. I think it's going to be a great addition to the eco house. What I need to do now is look out for a bit of stovepipe. You know, the other day I was looking and I did see some stovepipe going for free. I messaged the guy and he said, sorry, it's just been picked up half an hour ago. But these things, you quite often see them online, the stovepipes. You just have to go along, collect them. You might have to clean them out a bit. They might be a bit rusty, but I just need something to fit on here to go through the cob walls. Hello. Which will be well insulated so the cob doesn't burn, although it won't because it will be covered in clay and sand as well. But I need to just make sure that everything's safe and nothing catches light in there. And there's one other thing I want to show you. You can see up here, the joists for the mezzanine have been put in. More on that next time. So as I've just mentioned, the mezzanine is up there, but I need to get to it. Should I build a ladder using the oak left over from the roof beams? Or should I build a ladder using the oak, the planked oak, where I could build a bit more of a traditional staircase going up rather than a ladder? What would you do? A round ladder you climb up, or a bit of more of an angle on it, or less of an angle on it being a staircase? What would you do? Please let me know in the comments. So that brings us to the part of the video where we talk about how much money it has cost me so far to build this. The wood cost me £130. The screws cost £32. Then remember, I got the windows for free. I've got 3 windows from a lovely lady nearby. I went over, I picked them up. I think they're going to look great in this roundhouse, thatched, cobbed walled type eco build. Then there's the wood stove. The chap wanted £50 for it. I offered him 30. You know what? The way I was brought up, my mum always said to me, if you don't ask, you don't get. By simply asking, can you do it for 30 because I'm trying to do this project, he said, no problem at all, come on over. So I went over and picked it up. And then I found this, a load of pallet wood. I've been thinking about how to do the floor for quite a while. It just turned out to be too expensive to buy planked wood, and it was so hard to find free wood that would be good enough to do the floor. You want everything an equal thickness, whereas to use this oak, it wouldn't be ideal. Pallet wood. I'm thinking to use pallet wood for the floor. So I think for the next episode, I'm going to be doing quite a lot of denailing, deboarding, breaking up pallets, and possibly starting on the floor. So the pallets were free. And then look at this. Again, I went online, I was looking for a sink. I thought, you know, what am I going to need? I'm going to need things like, again, wood. I'm going to need screws, a wood stove, maybe some furniture, a sink. Yeah, I need a sink. I looked online and there was one going for free. It was £20, but for some reason it was free. I turned up, I put it in the back of the car, shook the guy's hand, said thank you very much, and I drove it back here. I'm also in discussion with a local farmer who he might be able to sort me out with 86 bales of straw, but I need him to give me a good price. So I'll update you next week. And with all that being said, thank you so much if you're still watching. Thanks for watching episode 1. This is now episode 2. Next week, episode 3. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you give it a like, comment, tell me what you want to see. What would you do? What would you build here if you were me? Yeah. See you next time. Goodbye. What?